Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Tiana, and today we are going to be talking about how to go D1. For those of you guys who do not know me, I am Tiana Harris. I currently am playing professionally overseas, and I went to Mississippi State my freshman year and transferred to Kent State my sophomore to senior year. So I know a little bit. I've obviously had to go through the journey myself. I am Canadian, so the process is a little bit different. I wish that when I was younger, I had someone to explain to me or someone to give me tips or help me in my D1 process, and it was something that I wanted to commit to. So this is why it's so important for me to share this with you guys. We're gonna get into it. So let's get into the video. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is committing to the journey. So this is like a huge thing. First step of the process. There might be a lot of things going on in your season. You might be in a situation where you're not playing. You might be in a situation where you're not starting. Things might not be going the exact way that you need them to be in your season. You might be dealing with an injury and things might not be going your way due to uncontrollable things. But when you're committed, you're telling yourself that no matter the circumstance, no matter what is going on, you are willing to work however hard it takes to get to your goal and to accomplish that goal. So that is number one on my list when you're committed to the journey. I think that's also something that I've lived by as a pro is it's not always sunshine and rainbows and you're winning championships with your team. It's not always that. So when you're committed to the dream, you're committed to the grind, you're committed to the journey, you fall in love with the journey and you start to kind of understand that. So that's number one. Number two, let's talk about the process. So extra training. When I started extra training, I truly feel like this is when my game elevated. And, you know, sometimes when you get individual training, you're able to get critiqued on things that you might not be able to get in an actual training session. In an actual training session, sometimes your coach's mindset is more about the team and not directly on your technique, your speed, the form, those types of things like that. And when you're doing an individual session, those are the things that you're able to be coached on. So I truly feel like that definitely helped me. Also too, when you're doing individual training, the coach or like the trainer is able to look at you and expose the weaknesses that you have. Some people fear weaknesses, you know, some people are a little bit uncomfortable being uncomfortable, but when you start to understand that your weaknesses being exposed are only going to benefit you, I think that's kind of when your game will also elevate as well, because then you're able to look back at it, be coached on it, and improve from those weaknesses. So they're no longer weaknesses, they're strengths. So that is number one thing for me. Also, you might be in a financial situation where your family can't afford extra training, and it's expensive. It's extremely expensive, and I am 100% aware. But there are a lot of resources, and you don't necessarily need to be doing extra training with a trainer. There are a lot of ball mastery skills you can look online, and it just takes maybe 20 minutes out of your day. You will be so surprised how much you will improve by doing 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, an hour, however long you have in your day, working on your ball mastery skills, working on your technique. These are all things that you can get, and they're all accessible to you on the internet. So yes, you can say, oh, finances, I don't have the finances to do individual training. That is completely understandable, because I was very blessed to be in a situation where my mom worked extremely hard so that we could get those types of resources, but not everybody is in those types of situations, and not all the time your parents want to invest in you, and that's just the reality of the situation. So if you are those types of people who think that you need to do extra training, the only way you can do extra training is with a trainer, I believe that it's not all true. I think you can improve your ball mastery skills and improve and still have growth and see a difference in your skills just by watching videos and doing ball work. These are all things that are accessible to you on the internet. Okay, let's talk about showcases, because I feel like this is one of the biggest ways to get recruited, showcases and camps. Although you might not have the finances to travel to these showcases because it's a lot of the times out of pocket, I highly suggest getting on a team that travels and plays in these showcases where college coaches literally come and watch and see you be recruited. Because I think that the more exposure that you have, the better your luck is to go Division I. When you go to these showcases, it's also about looking at all the schools that are going there, because you are provided with a list of schools that are going there, and you're able to research. And you can even, I suggest emailing the coaches before the tournament. Email them and attach your highlight reel, give them a little bit of information about yourself, and send them your game schedule for the week. So if you're at a showcase, you'll get a schedule of who you're playing, at what time, at what field. Send that all to the coach. And I would say be more broad. Like, they don't have to be the exact dream school that you're looking for, but you really just want to get your name out there and push who you are as an individual. Also, if you want me to show you guys what my email looked like, obviously it's been a while since I had to go through the recruiting process, but I can show you guys the format that they gave me and what I think personally works best. I can make another video about that, but I genuinely think that it's so important to reach out to them before you go. And it just takes one person. I think the biggest thing about that too is it just takes one person to have faith in you or see something in you and to take a chance on you as a college coach. Outside of the showcases, you can email coaches, and I would say kind of like broad. So like, say you had like a top 50 schools. I would first of all ensure that they have the program that you're interested in. If they don't have the program you're interested in, that's okay. But just be willing to be flexible. You know, like if you are not 100% sure on what you even want to study, which is completely okay. Or if you are dead set on what you want to study, you don't want to email a coach and they reply to you, and it's so unfortunate because they don't have your program. Do a little research on the schools, maybe even come up with a top 20, top 10, and top 5. And I would broadly email these college coaches that you are interested in. Okay, and next let's talk about ID camps. So these are the camps I was talking about previously, and I wish I personally did more ID camps, but I know how expensive it is to travel and have to pay with your income with your family to take work off and go to these schools. Coaches are mass emailed. They have a lot of emails each day, and your email might be falling into the category of lost in the amount of people that there is. So one thing that I would also suggest is if you have the ability to go to the ID camps at the school, because yes, you might be emailing this coach, especially if it's a school that you're super interested in, I would highly suggest going and showing them, because they might not be 100% sure about you. But one thing's for certain is when you get to that ID camp and you pop off at an ID camp, they can't miss your email. They can't miss all those things. They're seeing it for themselves. And there's a way to tell the difference between those ID camps that are just like summer camps and like the coaches aren't even there, but versus the ones where the coaches are there, they're watching the players. And sometimes they even invite people that they've recruited previously, or they are recruiting, or even have committed, and they'll come to these ID camps. So what better way to show who you are and compete against the girls that are literally coming to the program within the next years. So if you have the financial capability, I highly suggest ID camps and those types of things. If not, it's not a problem at all. I personally didn't go to ID camps and I still got recruited. So it's possible. Number 4, it's not necessarily the biggest thing ever, but I would say staying persistent in the schools that you're emailing. Like I said, college coaches get a lot of emails each day in and day out. If you don't follow up, or you hear back from a coach and you don't follow up, it's almost like a job. It's easy to kind of get missed. There's so many people, it's so competitive. And especially now with the transfer portal, like it's the competitiveness of going D1 is even higher. So I highly, highly suggest following up and being consistent. It's almost okay to be pushy. In this case, the pushier, the better, because you are trying to get what you want. The coach sees how bad you want it. You're emailing, and now I'm not saying email like 7 times a day. I'm saying like appropriately be pushy. Number 5, this right here is kind of the biggest thing, that this is where you want to be. It will skyrocket you. Not being complacent. The mindset to be great is a constant commitment of wanting to be better, trying to better yourself, trying to continuously improve. Because if you finally commit to a school, you know, you're verbally committed to a school, that does not mean that the job is done, okay? You cannot get complacent. If you've verbally committed, girl, the journey and the job has just started. You might think that you're the best on your current team, and you might be the best on your current team. But when you go to college, it's almost very humbling, and you're kind of brought back a few notches down and you're back on the bottom of the totem pole. So the work and the grind has just started, and you honestly have to work even harder because the level is higher than probably what you've been playing at, depending on what school you commit to. Almost like a reality check when you go to college, and I feel like people really forget that because you can go from being a starter, playing every minute, playing every second, like you never even saw the bench. But you go to college and you can be sitting on the bench for your entire freshman year. When you do not stay complacent and you're not okay with complacency, you're going to be continuously growing and continuously trying to improve, and that will only benefit you because also when you get there, because you are committed to the journey, like we talked about, you're not letting that situation define you. You're willing to work and be the hardest worker, regardless of the situation, regardless of what school, regardless of anything like that. And you are working your butt off in preseason, and when you get there, it almost not bridges the gap, but because you've been working so hard, you are bound to be successful your freshman year. So I really suggest, please, 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 just because you've committed does not mean that the work is over. It just started. You should be so proud that you've gotten a scholarship. You'd be so proud that you've verbally committed to a school, 100%. But just don't do yourself the disservice of being complacent. If you're currently in the process or you're being recruited and you want to go D1 or play professionally one day, I hope this helped because when I was in your position, I really wish that there was someone who was helping me, giving me tips and suggestions on what I should do in this situation, in this recruiting process. If you have any other questions or you would like to know about my journey personally, if you need help with emails or anything like that, I am definitely here as a resource. And listen, this might be a stressful time for you, and you might think that, oh, the recruiting process is kind of stressful, but I promise you, one day you're going to look back and this is going to be one of the best parts of your journey. Just breathe, because you got it, and good luck with everything. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you have any more questions, like I said, please comment down below. But like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!